There we go. Okay, this looks right now. Now we're in the right mode. So let me get my it up over here on my iPad so I can see what I'm doing rather than having to stand. Hello and welcome to Grace and Lottie's. Try 3 finally got us live this morning. It has been one of those days where technology has not been our best friend, but we are now here. I am back in Summer Nights, Hanna Karlzon here. We've done a bunch of mushrooms, and all of these videos are up. They're all in real time so that you can color along. We chat, we have some fun. Just wanted to let you know that it is still fall break here in La Mesa, California, which is part of San Diego if you're not familiar with that area. And so I have some kids home. My husband is home from work today. He's got a day off, and the puppy's here. So I can't guarantee that this is going to be a perfectly quiet video. Hi, some friends from Louisville are on. I'm guessing this is one of my daughter's classmates watching, considering she referred to me as Gracie's mom. How are you, Amber? Nice coloring, thank you. So we've been working on this one for a little bit, so we're going to be going back in. So I think today we're going to go through and do several of these that are here. They're pretty plain mushrooms, and if you look in the Mario Wikia, which when I finalize this, I will put this link down in the description if anybody wants to go look it up. There is what is the Boo mushroom, and it is white. Now, when we're working on it today, it's not going to look super exciting because it's white, but it will show up quite a bit once we go and put the background in. So I'm trying to zoom in here as tight as I can so you guys can see. Okay, I think that's got that set. Using my Kohinoor Woodless right here, they're a very simple set of 24. I'm having a blast using these just because they are so simple. You don't have a whole lot of choices you have to make as you are working with them. Just a reminder that because they are woodless, they are fragile. You can see, I'll show you again. Mine are broken quite a bit just because, well, that's what happens when you're not super careful. I've dropped them or whatever, and they do break because there's not the wood there to protect it, but also a good visual. So if you have regular color pencils and the lead is broken on the inside, they're just as fragile as these. So that is how those break. So we're just gonna jump right in now with our white. It is number 3 in this set. And we're just gonna color all of these caps in. Now, I'm gonna put a layer of white in first. As you can see, not super exciting, but I like to put my white in first and then come in with a little bit of shading. And we're gonna use blue for the shading on this, so just a light layer of white right there. Kind of keeps it from getting too muddy if I do that teeny bit in there first. Now we're gonna take in some blue now on the edge. It's real light, very, very light. I may come back with my eraser to remove a little bit of that blue just because it's hard to get the super, super light touch. But that's the cool thing, this paper erases great. Now that line around the edge is going to be super, super red, just in case you were wondering. So that's going to show up really, really well. I think I'm going to take in just a teeny bit of the gray here. I don't want to muddy it up too much. Using the blue will help you create a clean looking white. Gray a lot of times will take it to looking a little dingy. So I'm probably going to take a couple of steps to get this in, but now I'm going to go back over it with the white. I'm pushing harder now to kind of blend it in a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to go back up here. Now you see where that got a little dark. This is my little eraser pencil. Eraser pencils can be a little finicky because the top is rubber, So I recommend if you have one to try a couple of different eraser or sharpeners when you come to sharpen it, because the rubber tends to try to stick in those. The best sharpener I had was one of those wall mounts like you see in schools, or you had when you were a kid in school. Those work great, but it's not my nice Staedtler sharpener that works. It is this little cheap one that I have no idea where this one came from. Just kind of shows up in little kid sets or whatever, but it sharpens this great. So try a couple, you may be surprised which one works. So yeah, now that's softened up quite a bit. I'm gonna take it down just a teeny bit more right here. There we go. Looking great. Hold on here. Why did I not have my chat up? Hold on here. I normally have chat, and I don't see the chat today. Oh, there it is. Okay, now I can see it. Where do I get the coloring pencils? Okay. I got these actually at Hobby Lobby, so these are not hard to get. They're for the grade they are. The price point is incredible for these, and they're one of the ones I really recommend if you're going to use them. And you're just wanting this for a hobby. You don't need 1,000 colors. They lay down great. They're easy to use. I was surprising my daughter Gracie was over here the other day with her friends, and they look at them and they think I'm coloring with crayons. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee. And they're like, oh, you're just coloring with crayons. Then they came over and they picked them up and like, oh, these don't feel like crayons at all. It was kind of fun to surprise them with it and watch them do it. And the coloring page, this is in Summer Nights by Hanna Karlzon. I like these books. They are hardcover, which is kind of nice for traveling around with. Getting my blue back, and I'm gonna kind of come in right here. No. But I just ordered mine off of Amazon, and they're not that expensive. I've got a link in the description. Hopefully the description loaded correctly for this straight to Amazon, so you can order them there if you want it. You can see there's a kitty. If you saw at the beginning, there's a cat holding an acorn hat on the other side. I love the way the blue just kind of pops out from underneath there. I'm going to lay in just a teeny bit of this. Now he also has a little bit of black, and so I thought I would put the black on the underside of the cap just a little bit. So we're going to fade. It's going to be a pretty big fade coming out. So we're starting in here with the black because his face has some black on it. So just kind of lightly, this. Right here. Okay, now we're going to grab that gray. Pull it out. It's a nice morning right now here. We're going to get hot though later, so that was one of the reasons I did this a little earlier than I would have liked. I find a better viewership if I go a little bit later, but it's going to be hot here, and our air conditioner is crazy loud. So I was like, I can't run the air conditioner and do a live stream, so we'll just have to do it early. So I know it's Monday, it's early. Well, not super early, but on the East Coast, it's already noon. People are at work. It's so kind of a little more of a rough day. But if you are further west from me, it is even earlier for you. I think that means Hawaii and Australia and all of them are probably still sleeping, I would guess. Oh, look at that. I am really happy with that. Now, I'm going to come back with my blender, not because I don't think it's blended well enough, but I found that if I kind of go over it with the blender a little bit, I like my black lines to not kind of get white and covered, and this helps kind of bring them back out a little bit. I am very happy with this. That I'm realizing I don't think I was super careful. I'm gonna make sure I get the white all the way to the edge here. I'm planning on coming back right now with pastel to do the background. You can do a pencil background. I think pastel lays down well. And normally by the time I get to the background, I'm kind of ready to move on. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm really well covered here. And so I don't want to take the time that it takes to do a crayon background or a pencil background. It just takes forever. They look cool, but that's my impatience coming out right there. Yeah, I like that. I think it's fun the way the blue right here plays with the gray and the black. Yeah, that looks really cool to me. I'm gonna put a little more black in there. Get it really dark. And this black is great in the set. It actually is a good black. You know, sometimes it's some of the less expensive sets, your black is more like a pencil color. It's gray. This one actually is a good black. Oh, yes. Looks great. Now for the red stripe. This is where it's gonna get lots of fun and come bold and be reminiscent of that boo mushroom. And just this line around the edge. And it's a thin line, so I'm not gonna really work to do anything super complex with it. I am going to go a little bit lighter as I come in here to the middle. My pencil. And then come back harder as I come to the edge. We're going to put a little more dimension in that mushroom right there. And I'm wanting this to be super vivid. I'm going to add just a teeny bit of the vermilion on it now. It makes it go a little orangey. It'll make it really pop, especially with these guys right here. Then real light right here in the middle. And white to blend those together. I had a teeny bit of bleed right here, so I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. There's that. Oh yeah, that's looking great. I'm going to hit that middle spot with my blender, make sure my blender's clean real quick. This will give you, help you get that really vivid color. Not 100% necessary step, but I like it for how bold it makes the colors. There we go. There we have our first boo mushroom. I'm going to call over my expert real quick. Joel, can you come here? Come around the back. Joel is my resident Mario expert. You see my boo mushroom there?
Yes.
Can I get a thumbs up if you think it's a good boo mushroom? So you can see it. We got the thumbs up from Joel. Woohoo! Excitement. He's the one that I have borrowed all of the little Mario items that I've been putting in the thumbnails on here. So thought I would let him be in the video for just a second there. So we're just gonna repeat this. White coloring, not super exciting, but the final effect will be super, super cool when it's done because that white will pop against a color background. Oh, let's go in here. So the next one, light layer of white. Right here. And getting my blue. Now the blue I'm using, the blues on here are really, really close. I forgot to tell, is number 17. Yes, that. Blues were one of my favorite enemies in Mario. Mainly because since they were so easy to anticipate what they were gonna do, they didn't kill me a whole lot. A little bit of gray here. Lightly put in just a teeny bit more blue. Super, super, super light here. And with the gray. Gray is number 24, by the way. And blend with white. Blender in. I'm about to hit that top with my eraser. It came in a little too dark. I'm just gonna take this down, tone this down just a little bit back with the eraser. I love how well this paper erases. Just remove a little bit of that right there. Blend it back in because it removes some of the white too, so going back in now. There we go. Nice little colored cap there. Now our stalk gets the blue. Right up in there in that tip. A little bit of gray in there. I'm going to do just a teeny bit more, super, super light. If you want to make it rounded, you see how I'm kind of doing like a little bit of a U right there. That helps kind of make it look a little more round. Get the illusion there. I'll white blend that in. And watch out for the little bugs. I think when we get to them, I'm going to make them like Koopas. I may do one like a beetle, a bullet bill kind of a thing, but thinking about what the bugs would be, they seem to be, if I had to guess, they'd be Koopas. Now that went a little darker than I wanted, so I'm going to come back in now. Remove a little. I'm going light with my eraser so that I can control it a little bit and not end up taking off too much. There we go. Now for that under, where we've got the black fading out. Luminescence, because these guys have the dark black teeth and outline on them. These are not the most friendly looking guys in the Mario universe for mushrooms. So starting in pretty firmly in the middle, feathering my way out. So getting lighter and lighter as I come out. the gray, number 24. If you wanted with this, you could probably put in a teeny bit of purple. I'm liking the true black here, but a little bit of purple tends to blend in well with black. If you want it to have a little bit of color in there. Now for the white, blend it all together. I know it's hard to see, so just try to make sure that you get everywhere on the underside of this mushroom. It'll make a difference at the end when we come back in with the pastel. Gotta get good coverage. Okay, looking good here. And blender pencil here. Oh, getting clean, 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 clean. I did red last. I don't want red streaks in this. To help make the black lines come back to black. So it burnishes it just a little bit. That also helps later for the pastel not to stick in here. I tend to press pretty hard on these types of steps. I have a piece of cardstock behind. If I didn't use something as heavy as cardstock, it would cause problems in my paper. So just wanted to let you know, if you're doing that, try to put something pretty sturdy back behind it. And now I'm gonna sharpen my red just a little bit here, get a nice, good point. Okay, now for the vermilion in. Just make sure this is a nice warm red. If you just use the vermilion by itself, it turns up really orangey. With the carmine, it works out really well. And this is number 9 here. The red, the red is number 10. They sit right next to each other. Oh, gotta fix it. And a white blend on those. And blender pencil. Nice and clean, just checked it. Okay, there are a lot of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more of these. Let's look real quick back at their ideas. So let's see what other mushrooms. Not a whole lot of other choices that'll work for this, so it looks like we are going to do them all in white. See if there's maybe another idea. That was what my plan was, but Wanted to double check before I did all of them, maybe change my mind. It's perfectly fine to change your mind partway through. The fun of this, you're in control. It's what you want to do. Now, these flowers here are going to be super bright colors, so it's probably going to be nice to have this little bit of a rest through here. These, when we're all finished. Really light, super light. Oh, that was nice and light. That one was happy. Right there, a little bit of gray. Doesn't look like we'll need the eraser on this one. Always happy. Gotta come in here. Yeah, I like that one. That one turned out well. I'm gonna use my blender. There were a couple of tight spots in here, and my blender can get a nice tight point. Helps you get into the little crevices when the point's not as tight as you would like. Go. Next, the blue on the underside. Then this is number 17. I got a little bit dark in there, so I'm gonna erase just a teeny bit of that. There we go. Teeny bit of gray. On the very tip. And now the white. Pull it all down. Next is black, number 12. So, I'm trying to find something. If you are watching, I'd love to know where you're watching from. So just put that out there in the chat. Part of the fun of doing these is getting to kind of hear from people all over the world. The first one, not the first one, I think it was the second one I did. I was talking with somebody from Sweden, which was cool, which is where these books are from. Then, sharpen my gray here. Of course, I am originally from the Louisville area, Louisville, Kentucky, which is in the middle of the United States, for those of you not in the United States. And now I live all the way over on the West Coast in San Diego. So getting used to a whole new life out here. My schedule's changed because I've got some work outside of the home as well as when working from home. So doing both keeps me on my toes quite a bit. One little secret I found with these is that I will sharpen these, by the way, using the color, and then once I've kind of gotten it as far as it'll go in there, I'll put it in the graphite side for just a second. Now my sharpener needs to be emptied, it's dirty, so I'm getting a little bit of rub from other my shavings that are in there on here on these, but kind of gives a slightly sharper point. Looking good. Now we're ready for the red stripe on this one. Oh, forgot. Hit it with the blender. Why do the blender first here? Because you really don't want to accidentally touch that red stripe and pull red into your white. This is one of those times where it really does matter your order. I like my lines nice and dark. Those of you who watch my videos and watch them regularly, sometimes you'll see that I do go back with a pigment liner. Sometimes if the lines get covered up, and I darken them back in. It's just my preference. If you like lines, or if you like your lines to be more subtle and you color right over top of them and you let them kind of disappear, that's okay too. It's not a big deal. And going in lighter as I come to the middle, right there. So that was number 10. Now coming in with number 9, vermilion. Real light there in the middle. Make sure my white chip was nice and clean. Now to white blend those in there in the middle. Just helps give you that little bit of dimension. It's a little subtle detail on these, but I think it is one subtle detail here and one subtle detail there that do add up to making a great piece. Getting my pencils out of order, put them back in order real quick. So back in with the number 17. Now this guy's a little shadowed back here, so I'm gonna tuck him in a little bit by shadowing him a little bit more than the others. See, he's just kind of hiding in the back. Real super light, but a lot of the super light neck there is he's tucked in and hiding. Now some gray. Tucking in. I'm going to go a little more firmly with the gray, especially where he's back behind. And there. Now we're going to pull in the white. We'll white blend that all in. So I need my blender pencil to kind of help it finish. Use this blender pencil to help bring these guys together. That darker shadow. He kind of sneaks into the back there. Here, dark there. Just trying to get it in that tight little spot. But what's nice is you can just remove it with that eraser a little bit. Put that gray right there. Now to bring this down with the white. I haven't done the stalks on several of these yet because I haven't decided what I want to do with those. In some ways, looking at traditional Mario, it's like, should they be white? Should they be more of a fleshy, ochre color? So gone back and forth quite a bit. So that's one of the reasons why those aren't done yet. That's the nice thing. I can leave them for a little bit, come back to them when I make up my mind. If you're wondering why they're not done, that is why. Go back with the gray. And for those of you just tuning in, this is part 4, so there are other parts. Coloring in Power Up Mushrooms is what I thought when I saw this picture in Hanna Karlzon's Summer Nights. That made me think of Mario and his world, so I've been coloring these in to be reminiscent of Power Up mushrooms. Today we're doing Boo mushrooms, which turn Mario into a boo. So having some fun. So you can float, you can go through walls, you become invisible, which is pretty cool, and if in light you disappear. It's a good way to hide. Now with the red. I'm using Kohinoor's Progresso pencils. They are woodless. Doing this whole video in real time, so if you are wanting to color along, it's easy to color along. No speed ups. This one I feel like he's just kind of deep right there in those areas. It's a darker interior there. Okay, next one. I'm gonna sharpen my blue just a little bit. I don't want a super hard point, small point on this because it makes it harder to get a soft line. It creates the harder line, but I need to be able to get into the little areas. I can think a little bit, this guy's a little bit shadowed down there. Again, that's number 17 in the set. The blues do look very similar. Now with the gray, number 24. Right in there. Now, the white. The white, blend that in. This one also being kind of down here in the bottom. It's a little more shadowed, so that's why I came in a little bit further with my shadowing on that one. I use a teeny bit more gray, it's a little blue. The gray helps tone down the blue a little bit or so. Glaring there. number 12 in this set. Oh, sorry, forgot the stalk. Here, stalk has a little bit of blue up here. Oh, that was way too hard. Sometimes these little areas, it's hard to go in as soft as you want to go in. Really soft. A little bit of a U kind of helps give it some dimension. And right up there at the line, I'm pushing pretty hard just to kind of get in a little gray line up in there. And real soft, kind of feather it in. Now white. Pull it all together. I can't remember if I did these. Get those in so that when I come back, I find it's good to, if you're gonna do some white areas, to try to do those fairly early on in the project, just to help protect against color bleed. You know that if you accidentally touch another area with the white, it can pull in that color. And if you do it earlier, there's less chance because there aren't as many areas colored. So it kind of protects your white areas to help keep them nice and bright. Kind of like doing laundry, you know, you get that one red sock and suddenly your whites aren't so white anymore. That idea holds true here. And blend it out. There's aerobics and blend, and blend, and blend. Use the blender real quick, make sure there's no red on it. Keep those black lines nice and crisp. This is a darker area. Don't want it going too muddy. Now for the carmine number 10. It only has a teeny bit of the red on it. Now vermilion, number 9. And a white blend. Those together to make them meet in the middle. And the blender pencil to really push those guys together. I'm having fun with these. They're so subtle, but they're a lot of fun. Being simple, let's see, I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors on them to create what kind of appears to just be a 3-color mushroom, but it all overlaps in here. Light here. Go ahead and putting in a little bit down there too while I'm there. Not quite as shadowed, so I was letting it kind of come out. Gray. And the tip. Now I use the white. Bring it all together. Smooth that area out just a little bit. Still a little bit right there. It's a little too dark, so use my eraser. And white down here now. Those little corners right there and there are a little tough to get into, so I'm going to use my blender to push the color back up into there. There we go. Now to get the black. Nice and firm to the middle. Get really nice and dark in there. Now the gray. And lightening up as I come to the edge. Make sure there's no red on my tip. And blend that out. And the blender. Bring back in the definition. Red. Really firm back here in the back. And coming around to a softer spot. Now to get the vermilion. This takes it to an orangier red. Warms it up a bit. And there's that. Blend, blend, blend. Okay, 2 left. We are almost done with all of these. And that coffee's gotten nice and cold. Light blue here, which number 17. Forget the exact term for it. I don't have my sheet out, whether it's like sky blue or light blue or what term they use for it. Super, super light on the edge. Go ahead and give it a little bit down here. We'll go ahead and do this one too. We'll do doubles here together since they're right next to each other. Super, super light. And the little upside down U down here. Now with our gray, pretty firm on the edge there. Feathering it in. Here, especially up at that top, getting that gray in. And now the next one, firm on the edge. Feather in. There haven't been a lot of Mario games in our family this week because Breath of the Wild has been the game of choice, and it's pretty funny watching 4 family members fight over who's gonna play. I have to laugh. My daughter wants to play, but she doesn't want to actually do the controller. She just wants to tell somebody else what to do, to have them play for her. And her idea of playing is to just gather food and try to cook as much as possible. And the boys have had to try to share their time. Since Joel's on break, but the oldest, Jeremiah, isn't. Jeremiah's been claiming it every night when he gets home from school because Joel can play all day if he wants. I'm going to use my blender here to just make sure it's up against the edge of the line. I see a couple of areas where that there's such little areas in this that it's hard to get into with the pencil, but what I can see with the blender, I can make sure we're really tight and nice and up against that edge. Prismacolors, colors, that's one of the things very thin would be great for, as well as like doing hair, those types of things with those, but they have that nice little tight point that you can get into those teeny little areas like that and do really nice detail work. Okay. They're really firm and dark right there in the middle. Feather it out. Now for the gray. We're almost done. Almost there. Do you get anxious when you kind of get to the end? You know, you're so close to having like a section finished or something. You're like, yes, almost done. Racing towards that little finish line you made in your mind for it all. love new challenges. So for me, it's like almost there, almost getting ready to move on to something else. Love the start of a project. But I'm so stubborn, I do finish most of them. Too stubborn to leave it unfinished, it'll drive me nuts. Going in with the carmine now. Soft. Okay, now going with the vermilion. Now, using a limited color palette also does keep in theme with the old video games where they only had so many colors that they could use to create all of the different things on the screen. So that's very fitting for this. And a little bit of the white right here through the middle. Through the middle. Yay! Last one done. So if I had really fancy setup, here's where I do the side by side so you can see the difference from one to the other. I am very happy with those little boo mushrooms. We got a few more minutes left here. So let's go ahead and I think I'm gonna work on, hold on here, my wiki page disappeared. Looking at the newer mushrooms, they do have the white dots with more of the flesh tone body. So I think we are going to do a flesh tone stalk on these. So the way I do that is I use in this, which is the ochre color, the yellow ochre. It's number 21 in this set. There's my little tip with that. And then let's see here. I've got a scrap card to play with. I'm going to decide what shade of blue to use. I think it's this one. I think it's number 6 that I like to put in just a teeny bit to shadow it. Let's just see if that's kind of the same way that we just did the shadow. Yeah, that's it. That's the right shade. If I use the 17, it's just a weird shade on this. I just want to make sure. Let's just double check here real quick. Make sure it's not 18. Okay, we're going to test both of these next together. Here's 18. And here is 6. We're going to go with 18. Change my mind. So, number 18 And you'll see, once I get on here, this is just scribbling. It'll make a lot more sense once I get it in here. It's gonna take a couple of shades together to get the right effect on this. So just be patient and know that it will come together. It just takes it a little bit. We have a couple of colors in here with the browns and these ochres, and it just takes a couple of steps. So we're gonna start up in here where it's all nicely shadowed. I'm just gonna put in super light blue, and it's coloring nicely. Sorry, I had my hair in that shot for a minute. Come back. Oh, forgot, I am off. I've got it all zoomed in. Let me bring you back up here. I'm used to having my camera on a full screen. There we go. Now you'll be able to see. I'm not used to having to move my shot. Normally, what I do is I'll have my camera just shooting the whole piece, and then I do my zooms in post when I'm editing. Can't do that when you're live, especially when you're live and do it by yourself. Okay, so that's got that started. Let's test these browns here. Ooh, you're very red. Okay, so this guy probably not so much unless we end up with a really, really deep shadow, which I'll come back with him. But this one, the plain brown, I can kind of get in right here, right where it's going to be dark, especially along these edges. It'll help define these spots. Right here. Okay, so that was really nice and soft there. Now go in with that ochre. Again, firmer towards the shadowed areas. I'm going to lighten up as I come out. I'm really light right through here. Real light with the blue. Blue helps also kind of take it a little bit less yellow. Just so light, and I'm just barely touching this to the piece. And I'm gonna white blend my white, double check, make sure it's clean. Then I'm going to start up at the shadowed, and I'm really going to work to pull it, following the lines that are here in the mushroom. come back in with my brown now. And work a little bit more. And that's the beauty of this. It's really easy to make it a little darker in spots. It's a lot harder to make it lighter. Although you saw that little trick with the eraser earlier today, so. Now, blend that with the blender. Really bring it all together. I think this mushroom makes me think of a frog. His color came out with the little bumps on him. I see a frog. Even though he's the extra life mushroom. Okay, so you see that's got it nice and shadowed in there. This next area right here is not going to be quite as shadowed. I'm going to go ahead and put down a light, the ochre first. These little lines, tend to follow those down a little bit. Create some shadowing in there. Teeny, 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 like the ultramost teeny bit of the blue in this. And then we'll do a little bit with the brown too. Not nearly as dark as we did. And I'm kind of, if you see I'm doing the U here. Kind of help create a little bit of dimension in there. Come back in with the ochre. Work to marry all these together a little bit more. A little spot didn't want to go up into that dip. Now to white blend these guys. I need to use the blender pencil on the edges just to bring home those shadows. Trying to get up, there we go. Trying to get up into that little corner right there. So we got that now. Now we just have the simple stalk right here. And then this one's gonna have, I'm gonna go in now with this really dark brown just in a couple of spots to really drive home where some shadows are. You saw how that just really said it's dark here. I'm gonna do just a teeny bit right here. Tiniest little bit. Just along this edge. Now I'm gonna take my blue, my number 18. Do this light U here. I'm going to kind of follow the line down. All the way down. Nope, that's a leaf. Sometimes it gets hard to see in here, and I think that's a leaf there too. Some of these lines, it's like I'm trying to figure out what was going on, but it's hard to do. I'm gonna come in with my regular brown now. And just soften all of this up. Going to define this a little bit because there'd be a little bit of shadow here. It's not as strong of the shadow as elsewhere, just a little bit. I'm going to stop that stalk here. I don't think it goes all the way down. Now for the ochre. Like we've been doing elsewhere, pretty firm around the edge. And then tapering and feathering in. It's just the faintest whisper of the color in the middle. It's a little firm, going a little firmer down here at the bottom since this is so far back in the back. It's going to be in shadow, so it's not going to have as much of the light hitting it. So it's okay to go darker, a little more firm back here. Coming back up, these shadowed lines really firm now. I just realized you can't even see the bottom here, so I'm going to roll it up here. See, that's the bottom where I was going pretty firm. Bring it back down now. We are ready to white blend. I think white blending, it's a subtle effect on it, but I think it really helps bring it together. And I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here today. Realized I went about 10 minutes over doing that, so let's zoom back out. Get the whole picture in the shot. And there we have it. More mushrooms done today. Still quite a few left to go. This is quite the plethora of mushrooms in this one. A quick sneak peek here, because I've been working on this sheet right here to get some ideas. So these are what our flowers are going to be, and the ice flower and the fire flower. So looking forward to doing those. Been getting that idea solidified for how I wanted to do those. So I hope that you have liked this video. If you have, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And please let me know how you like the real-time format. And I'm just seeing Vicky Hampshire. Hi, thank you for your compliment there. It was so pretty. I'm enjoying this one quite a bit. Remember that there are, this is the 4th in the series, so you can go back on the channel and find the other 3 if you want to catch up. And I will be back next Monday doing more on this lovely picture. Got to decide what these 2 mushrooms right here are going to be. So again, remember that art happens in everyday life. Make sure you're watching for it.